Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome back to Naylo's Thrift Talk. I'm Lola.
And I'm Nay.
And today we have a very special episode. We are celebrating what is it, Nay, our second birthday?
Well, our second birthday, it was our second, in August was our second anniversary or birthday. And we
1,000 subscribers.
Right around the same time of our second birthday. So thank you to all of you who have watched, who subscribe, all of our friends, all of our loyal viewers. We love you all, and we would have never gotten here without you. So
So it's super exciting. We love being here week after week and seeing you guys in the chat. So whether you're in the chat right now or you are watching this after the fact, we are so thankful for you. And if you're new to the channel, this is a little bit of a different episode. It's actually might be a good intro because we're going to recap some of our favorite highlights from our past episodes and some of our favorite thrifting experiences and things about thrifting. But if you are new, definitely go back and watch our previous episodes because they are going to be a little bit more traditional. So this is going to be just a fun celebration. But before we get into that, we do have our usual segments.
We do. So Lola, what are you wearing that's thrifted today?
So today is one of the first days that really feels like fall. So I had to wear a flannel, vintage flannel. This is a Pendleton's. We were talking about Pendleton's last week, right, Nay?
Yes, we were. Yeah. So perfect. Very appropriate.
I bought this one off of Shop Goodwill. It was a little bit of an impulse purchase. I think what happened was I'd already bought another item from that seller and wanted to add something else to my package. So I wasn't paying for shipping for just one thing. So I bought this. It's like a men's extra large, but it's like a really oversized fit on me. And based on the tag, I think it's from the 90s. I'm not quite sure. It's definitely a little bit more recent. It's not super vintage, but it's held up really well. And I love this. Is the pattern is called like a shadow plaid print, which is one of my favorite types of plaids.
Okay. Very nice. So I have on, you will recognize this, Lola. So this is it's like a crop top.
So cute.
And I know you recognize it. And the reason I'm wearing it today is because since we're celebrating our 1K and our 2-year anniversary, you found this for me at Goodwill in Philly while we were thrifting together, knowing that I love giraffes, and you were so excited. And I love it. It's like a cute, oversized crop top. And I am also, I'll talk about that in a minute because I have some info to show you on it. But this I am wearing because Lola and I have our whole friendship was formed in Philly. Like that's our roots are in Philly. We both lived in Philly when we met. We have all kinds of thrifting adventures and memories of our friendship in our home city of Philadelphia. So I am wearing a thrifted Philadelphia Eagles hat today in honor of that. And I think I paid like $3 for it at Goodwill at some point. So my mannequin behind me is wearing a dress that I found on one of our thrifting adventures at the bins. So
I don't think I remember that one.
I had pulled it out. It does have a rip on the side of it. I just got it out to list and saw the rip, but I was like, oh, I'll show it today. And I think I can repair it because it's on the hem. Not on the hem, on the side seam, but the brand is Soda Blue and it's like a vintage Y2K dress. So yeah, I do remember I did pull it. It was from one of our bins adventures, but it was a while back. So, and I have this to show. So this is, let me get this.
I'll pull it up.
Thank you. So this is the back of my shirt. It says Coco Alley, New Orleans. And, thinking about everyone in New Orleans who was affected by Ida, we were just affected here in New Jersey as well. So it's kind of appropriate for timing too. But Coco Alley is pretty cool. This is their website. So the artist, her name is Allie Burger something. Long last name. Allie B. There you go. So they do a lot of vegan things. They do have a note about they don't have power. So right now, but they have really cool. Do you remember this website?
I do. I remember trying to figure out what it was. And I think because it was written in script. It took us like a couple tries to decipher it, and then we Googled it and found the website, and it was just such a cool, because you also obviously like are vegetarian, have been vegan.
Yeah. So it's a vegan friendly brand too. She has a whole vegan guide to New Orleans on her website, which is so cool. So it's animal friendly, eco friendly, like everything that I'm about, and it's giraffes. So it
was like so meant to be. And I remember when I found that on the rack too, I was like, it was a really, really like tightly packed rack. So I was flipping through things and I felt like I was skipping stuff because there was just too much to see. And then my hand kind of like fell on that shirt, and it was just like totally meant to be. So
it is. It's one of my favorite tees, and it's comfy. Like today I have on leggings and a black tank underneath, and it's just like, just perfect for like, one of those kind of loungy days. And so, yes. So, our next segment is our thrifted home decor items of the week. So do you have an item this week, Lola?
I do. So, switch back. Okay. This is an item that actually bought at a flea market in Philly, speaking of Philly, and it was something that I had a lot more use out of before when I lived in my Philly row home, because we didn't have a lot of closet space. So this was like a holy grail of mine for years. You can't see it very well because it's tall. It is a coat rack. It's like a beautiful coat rack.
I remember that in your house in Philly.
Yeah. It used to be in our living room because we come in from the cold in the winter and stuff and like have to take our coats off immediately. So it's one of my favorite things. And in my apartment now, I do have a big coat rack or like a coat closet. So I don't need this coat rack as much, but we still keep it out in sort of like the living room area because it's just sort of a prized possession. And
what did you pay for it?
$30 or $40, I think.
Wow, that is a bargain.
Yeah, it was heavily discounted. So I would have definitely paid more for it. And it was just one of those moments where you see it across the room, and I went for it. And I was like holding my breath, hoping it wasn't super overpriced. And not only was it reasonably priced, but it was like 50% off or something. So it was just meant to be. And yeah, it's one of my favorite thrifted, but more of a piece of furniture, but home decor.
So my item is not as epic as yours, but it's actually the coffee mug I'm drinking out of today. So this came from Goodwill in Philly. It is Starbucks Kuwait. So it's an old one. It's I don't know the years on the bottom, but I think it's from like the early 2000s. It is something that I was going to sell. Starbucks mugs have lost their momentum, but it also has a chip in the handle. So I don't know if it's a small chip, but it doesn't really hurt the integrity of the mug. So I use it, and I love it because it's a big mug. It's I don't know if it has the ounces on the bottom, but it's probably like 18 ounces or 20 ounces.
That's a nice size. I love those Starbucks mugs.
Yeah. So this is one of my favorite mugs, and it's like a nice exotic location. I will never go to Kuwait. I know that, the chances are slim to none, but at least I have a mug from there. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Becky says that she found a Keith Haring throw blanket. That is so cool.
She actually sent me, if I can pull it up, I might be able to pull it up. She sent me a photo of it. Let me see if I can get it, because she sent it before the show. I'm trying to pull it up now.
And Lisa has a Haring travel pillow.
Oh, cool. Yeah, and that also relates to one of our past episodes. So, well, I will try to.
And Angelique says, our eyes met across the room and we knew we were supposed to go home together. That's how I feel in the thrift store all the time.
Here it is. So I can pull that up to show everybody. There is Becky's.
That is beautiful. I can't imagine it wouldn't be worth it. I mean, you can either list it as is or spend some time fixing it.
Yeah, it's awesome. So great find there, Becky.
That's very cool.
Yeah. And we have a few announcements. So next week, although I just told Lola right before the show that we might have to change the time, but we are going to be doing a Show Us Your Duds show. So we asked our viewers last week to please send us some of your duds. We have not gotten any entries yet, so we need your guys' help so that we have some show material next week. So it's not about critiquing or slamming your listings by any means. What we want to do is help you sell your duds. We want to help our viewers sell your duds. So what we want is, is some viewers' live listings that aren't selling, things that need a little help, that haven't sold, that have been sitting for a while, and you just can't get them out the door. So we will be giving you suggestions to hopefully turn your duds into scores. So please send us your dud listing. Just send us a link and tell us that it's for the show on the 10th, for the dud listing show. And you can email those to nalothrifts@gmail.com. And so please send them. If you guys, if you talk to me in Messenger or whatever, you can also message it to me, whatever is easiest for you. But we want your duds. So that's going to be next Friday. I did just remember I scheduled it for 2. My kids are going back to school on Thursday for the first time in person in a year and a half. So that is going to throw our show schedule off. So I think we're going to have to go back to 1 p.m. because I think they're getting off the bus right around the time that we're it would be like around 3 or so. So we'll let you know. We'll post that next week, but that time might change. So getting into it. So our channel is at, as of today, 1,036 subscribers. So we not only hit our 1,000 subscribers, which is a big goal for, if you have a YouTube channel. It takes a while. It's a lot of dedication. It takes a lot of hard work, to get those subscribers. But we not only hit 1,000, but we also knocked it out of the park, and we're at 1,036 as of today. So,
and we're so thankful for every single one of you.
Yes. Thank you guys so much to all of our viewers, guests, and friends who have supported us. I see a lot of our regulars in the chat: Heather, Lisa, Brian, Becky. I saw Henry there, Angelique. And if I'm forgetting any names, we love all of you. We love all of our loyal viewers. And we have some prizes for those of you who are in the chat. If you're not in the chat today, only you guys in the chat are eligible. But our friends Craig and Rick donated a couple of great prizes. So that's good. That's really exciting. So you guys will have a chance to win. And Jason is he's celebrating his anniversary in LA today, but he also sent us love. And we have to say thank you, a big shout out and thank you to Jason, because he lets us post in the thrifting board every single week. He has been absolutely, helpful with that. There's the thrifting board, Jason's group. But yeah, every week he has allowed us to post there about our show, advertise, he's supported us in every way. So definitely, I know you guys are all members of the thrifting board, but anybody who isn't, you should definitely join. And yeah, so we definitely have to say thank you to everyone who supported us. We really appreciate you. Jess, I didn't mention Jess. I see Chris Coleman in the chat. All of you guys, thank you. And so we have, I guess, Lola, should we start off with some of the...
Sure. Yeah. So for today, as our celebration, we wanted to do sort of a looking back at some of our favorite show moments, kind of revisit some of the highlights, and also do a little bit of an intro. So at the very beginning of when we started this channel, on every episode, we would do a little getting to know you segment and talk about our personal stories as thrifters and some of our favorite things to thrift and those kind of, fun getting to know you things. And it occurred to me that if you're a newer subscriber, you might have missed those early episodes. So we're going to do a little bit of that again, and also be able to talk about our favorite show moments.
Yes. So should I pop that link in the chat now too?
Yeah. So as a special part of the celebration too, we wanted to invite any of you, because we know we have a lot of our loyal viewers are in the chat, to pop on and join the stream for a few minutes. So if you want to answer any of the questions that we're answering, you can also pop on and give your answer, so we can get to know all of you, and the viewers that you've gotten to know in the chat, you can get to know them a little bit better too. So
Yeah, if you're not tech savvy, I just put the link in the chat. You can copy and paste that. I don't know if it's clickable, but on your end, it's not on mine, but you can copy and paste it in your browser and it will take you right to us and you'll be backstage and then we can add you when we're ready and then you can answer the question and then leave. No pressure. We won't put you on the spot or anything, but absolutely, just join in the fun. We'd love to have some of our viewers. Oh, I see Lori in the chat. So Lori is the idea behind our duds episodes. Lori made that suggestion. So we love our viewer suggestions too. And so she made this. She said that she loved the episode where Lola and I critiqued our duds, or gave each other helpful suggestions. And then she said, why don't you do, so that was my favorite episode. Why don't you do an episode where you give your viewers some suggestions on their duds? And I thought it was a brilliant idea. So thank you, Lori, for that suggestion.
Lisa says she's at work with no webcam. So I guess if you also want to play along and answer some of our questions, but you can't join for whatever reason, you could also just type it out in the chat or as a comment if you're watching this after the fact. But we also wanted to just give people a chance to pop on if you wanted to. And if you don't, if no one does, that's fine too. We have a full episode's worth of content. So we just kind of wanted to do a chill episode and let it kind of play out the way you guys feel like it. So.
All right. So what's your thrifting origin story, Lola?
I think we have very similar stories. I know we've talked about this before. So I started thrifting when I guess it started when I was like in elementary school and I would go with my mom more to yard sales. Like she was really big into yard sales, listen to thrift stores. But I always had that bug for, hunting down just the right thing, the thrill of the hunt and finding unexpected things and old vintage stuff. So I think it was around high school, and especially there was a very brief time when I was like around 18, I actually had a car for like a year. And then I crashed it. I have never driven since. But for that year, I would go thrifting a lot on my own, like enjoying that freedom. And I remember around then, this was around the mid 2000s. You guys know how old I am. We've talked about how old we are before.
Well, I have 10 years on you. So if you think you're old, then you're really making me feel
I feel like that was a while ago now. Like the stuff I wore in high school is vintage. So, but it was so much easier to find amazing vintage clothing. So I don't know if I would have fallen in love with it as much now as I had back then. Now it takes more digging, takes a little bit more, very determined hunting to find the sources of good vintage clothing now. But back then I would just go to the local Salvation Army and it was full of it. And I've shown things on the show that I found back then because I hung on to it all that time. And eventually some of it I've listed and sold, but there was just a ton of it like in my closet at my parents' house that I bought back then. So that's when I really got the bug and it never left me, I guess.
Very cool. We do have a viewer answering. So Angelique. Wow. So
I love that.
Her grandmother, she got the bug when her grandmother did shipping and handle green stamps with shipping and handling green.
What is it? It's S&H stamp. I know the green stamps, it was like you would collect the stamps when you purchase something and then put them in a book and then turn them in and buy something from like the green stamp store. Is that right, Angelique? I know I've seen like there's this big green stamp sign that was on a building in my hometown. And so I think that was when I first learned about it. Because I thought the sign was like so romantic and old.
Wow, that's so
Not cool. To make you feel old.
So thank you for sharing that, Angelique. So I am going to keep copying that. I'll just so that you guys don't have to keep scrolling up. Craig, I see just popped in. I will keep putting that StreamYard link if you guys want to pop in and answer a question. I'll just keep copying that in the chat so you guys don't have to keep scrolling all the way up. I'll do that a few times during the show. So my thrifting origin story is when I was a kid. So I talked about this on our past episode. So when I was a little girl, I started out with flea market. So it's a very fond memory. As you guys, a lot of you know, my dad passed away recently and we were very close. And he's one of the people that got me into my roots. And my dad, when I was a kid, I don't even think I ever talked about this part. He used to go to like the junkyard, like for car parts. And every once in a while we would go to like the dump to drop off stuff. Like back then it was a different thing. It wasn't like but like at the entrance, like sometimes like people would just throw stuff. Like I remember him finding like a brand new like turkey roasting pan and all kinds of like crazy stuff. And we brought it home. My mom was like, what the heck? But she, like she washed it and she still has it to this day. I mean, so like my dad always had that bug, like to recycle things, to get things, like thrift things, like get things, like he used to fix up old cars and get the car parts at the junkyard. I used to go with him. So that kind of thing, I think I got that from my dad a lot. And when I was a little girl, we used to go and I remember in the dead of winter going, it was back in the 80s. So that ages me. We would go to a huge flea market and we'd get up like at the crack of dawn. I've never been a morning person, wasn't then either, but it still was a fond memory. And we would drive to this flea market. I remember wearing the leg warmers in the 80s and they would bundle me up in the coat. And the first thing we would do is they had a breakfast sandwich stand at the flea market. My parents would get coffee. They would get me some hot chocolate and we would get egg and cheese sandwiches. And then we would hit the flea market. And, I used to get toys and all kinds of stuff. And it was so much fun. So that was and I loved going. We used to do that like a lot of Saturday mornings. So that was really my roots. And then we ended up, and then from there, like when I was younger, like high school and all, I was artsy and all, and I loved thrifting, wearing thrifted and vintage clothing. And, I wasn't selling at that point, but I've been thrifting like pretty much my whole life. So, yeah. So
some great answers in the chat. Yeah.
That is true. Now this was like way back in like the 80s. So like none of that happened back then. Things were different. But yes, nowadays I would not suggest doing that.
And Becky says, so my story or my understanding is about right. You take the stamps and shop from the catalog and pick them up at the store. So it's almost right. And so Heather was asking if anyone dumpster dives. I've always wanted to try, but I have been too chicken. I love that, Becky.
Yeah, so Becky has roots of that too. Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah. And that's basically what my dad would take stuff to drop off and then we would end up and I remember that as a little girl. I think the danger wasn't as great then and the ordinances weren't there and things were just different. Like I don't remember it being we weren't walking through the garbage or anything. I just remember in the front area there was stuff that people would just drop off and every once in a while you find some treasures and hey, that would go in the waste stream otherwise. So
right, it's true.
Yeah. Chris says he doesn't remember what he got him started on eBay, but several years he got halfway serious and through the encouragement of a Facebook friend, and he actually got a store. Yeah, that's great. So the community, friends is always helpful.
Yeah, I feel like that's a theme in some of our answers that we'll get to in a minute. Bob literally grew up in a pawn shop. That is so cool.
That's funny. Wow.
He must have so many stories. I would love to hear those stories.
Yeah, that's gotta be. Yeah.
Okay, Nay, what do you love most about thrifting?
I love the adventure and the unpredictability about it. You could go into you never know what you're going to find. You can't really go. You can have a holy grail list or a list of your looking for something. When you go into a retail store, a big box store, you can say I am looking for a green striped shirt, and you can go and find that. But you can't be as specific and you never know. You might find a a holy grail item or something that means a lot to you, or just. So I love the adventure of it. I think that's my absolute favorite part.
Yeah, that was going to be my first answer. And then I saw that you had already claimed it. So
that's another topic.
So I totally co-sign that answer. But my other favorite thing is how I am constantly learning new things. So a good example is when we found the giraffe shirt that you're talking about, and then we discovered this cool, whole like small business that's from another part of the country that we would have never encountered otherwise. So there's like little things like that you can discover while thrifting, and then just like finding vintage items and then researching where they came from or who made them and the story behind them. And like we do our thrifted history segment sometimes on the show, and I feel like every item you find has some sort of hidden history behind it. So I just love that, and I love, like you said, like finding things you don't expect and then sort of digging into what they mean and who might have used them and imagining who owned them before. Things like
exactly. There is no thrill of the hunt like that. There's no like mystery about, like, I'm sorry, if you're going to Kohl's or Macy's, it's just not the same thing. Like, you just don't have that same feeling going in. So
wow, Lori, you had never been in a thrift store before starting on eBay. I wonder how many have each of our stories of people who thrifted for a long time before they started on eBay, or people who started on eBay and then realized that a thrift store was where a lot of people find their inventory. Oops,
wow.
sorry.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That's a great, yeah. I love that part about selling on eBay, that it doesn't happen that often, but that one time you get a message from the buyer and you help them find this super special item to them that has all of its sentimental meaning. It just it makes all of the hard work really feel like it paid off.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, yeah. So Craig said that he didn't even start thrifting until 6 or 7 years ago. Wow. So, but I know you and Rick are like masters of the hunt now. So yeah.
Obviously everyone here who says they haven't thrifted for that long, I'm shocked, because definitely lots of old thrifters in here.
That is true. Like, I can have a bad day, be depressed, go thrifting, and it's like medicine, Oh, Aaron's in the chat. So Aaron also helped us to get to our 1K because he helped push us over to that 1K mark. He posted about it, and he's been so supportive, him and his husband Matt. So, and we are going to have them on as future guests too. So thank you.
I see a couple people in the waiting room.
Hey, we have some takers. So, all right. So let's add in Craig.
Becky. Hi, Becky.
And Becky.
Hello,
Hi, guys.
I'm going to take off our...
Oh, yeah, I was going to ask. There we go.
Let's see. This one.
There we go. Perfect.
Of course it's Craig and me.
All right.
No, I honestly I don't actually ever remember even going in a thrift store until about 6 years ago. I was a garage sailor.
Oh, okay.
And a flea marketer. So, and toy show person. So we've been reselling on eBay for 25 years, and I think actually October 10th is our 25th year anniversary on eBay. So we've been selling on eBay for like they sent me something a couple of weeks ago, 9,235 days of selling on eBay. But all of that time, it was, I'd go to like toy shows and get in there, like pay for the day beforehand or the 3 hours early entry so I could run around to the people who didn't know what they had and like flip things that way. That was what we did. And I don't even know why. All of a sudden, it was like 6 or 7 years ago. I went, there's a valuable. Wonder what's in there. And it's like, they have toys. And it expanded from that into all the other things. And estate sales was the same thing. There's hardly any of them in our area, but then we started finding them in the States, and that's actually what flipped Rick from being a guy who used to be, I hate dealing with that. Get me up early, give me my coffee. To, I found this. And now.
Well, it always helps to have a spouse that's on board too. But yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, I think once you catch the thrifting bug, you never can uncatch it. I think that's So.
Yeah, very well said. That's so true.
That's happened to me too a couple times where I've seen items that I've donated and I am tempted to buy them back. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I donated them for a reason. But that's a pretty cool thing, Jess.
That is
something.
That
like
is wild, Jess. So you had made it like 20 years earlier and you found it again.
That's crazy.
I mean, because I've done the same thing they said, where like I've gone into, especially my local thrift store in Philly, because I would donate all my stuff there, and then I'd see it on the rack, and I'd be like, "Oh, am I regretting this now?" But not something from 20 years ago. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's quite the
I see
find.
stuff like that I donate that I have tried to sell for 2 years on eBay and drop the price down below anything. Put it in my garage sale at $2. Can't sell it. Okay, take it over to the thrift store and see them pricing it at $17.99. Think just like little, and then the next day it's gone, and I'm like, why did they buy it from me on eBay or at my garage sale? How come they could get $17.99? Didn't they see it was broken? I used to donate when my mom was alive. I used to buy her jigsaw puzzles all the time, and she had specific kind of jigsaw puzzles. I was constantly rebuying the jigsaw puzzles I donated to the Value Village. So I started writing a little circle on the back, like a little signature on the back. So I'd be picking up stuff and go, "Oh, Mom will love." Oh, I bought that for her. So I would stop because I bring them home and go, "Mom, look what I got." She goes, "I've done that."
That is so funny.
That's too funny.
You're the worst child ever. Stop buying these.
And I was her only child too. And it was like, you are the worst child. What about your other siblings? I like Rick better.
Becky, what do you love most about thrifting?
Well, I mean, we've already touched on it a little bit, but being able to bring nostalgia back for people, I really enjoy that. And just finding weird stuff, you know, like you think something is picked over and then you find a little gem.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody else is, you know, they all think that they've already got all the stuff, but you know, it's usually after everybody's already shopped when I find the good stuff. So one thing that particularly sticks out is this little pink hippo that I got. It was a little plushie and it had a music box in it and it played You Are My Sunshine. And I got it for $1 at an estate sale and I put it up. There was one that sold for like 60 or 70 bucks and I put mine up for 80 and it sold, but 2 people on the same day both wanted it, you know, and it was like somebody was saying yes just a little while ago. Oh, Craig was saying that, you know, it's like when you see something, you better buy it when you see it because the next day it might be gone. And that's exactly what happened to one of the ladies that wanted it. She's like, I just saw your listing. What did you take? I was like, somebody bought it this morning. I'm sorry.
Yep, it happened. I've had that happen too. Yeah.
But it's nostalgia. And then another lady bought, how crazy is this? It was a pig ice cream scoop that oinked. When you used it, you could push the button and it would oink. And
who wouldn't want that? That's amazing.
And the lady who bought it, her last name was the same as mine.
Oh my goodness.
Post and she was like, I'm so glad you have this because this reminds me of when I would eat ice cream with my mom or my grandma or somebody. Now I can do that with my grandkids. So it's really fun. I like getting stories like that too. So that's what and so those are my 2 most memorable.
Yeah, I was going to say that was a great segue. Into
that was our next question.
You're welcome.
Didn't even do that intentionally. Craig, what was your most memorable thrifted find?
It's actually a toy show find. It's probably not a thrifted find. It was a doll that I bought at a toy show, and it was a doll called Blythe. And Blythe was a doll from the 70s that had
I've heard of those.
Giant head, like a Funko Pop, and a long Barbie-like body. Actually very flat, but Barbie-like, Skipper-like body. And she had a string in the back of her head, and when you pulled the string, her eyes closed and opened, and they were pink facing forward, blue facing that way, like I think green facing that way, and then some other color. So you could just click her eyes. And the one I bought I paid $10 from a doll dealer, and it was missing a leg. Its hair looked like it had not been combed or anything in probably 10 years, 20 years. It was just a mat. Like you couldn't even want to take it apart. The string was hanging at the back, so you couldn't even make the eyes move. And I put it on eBay and I sold it for almost $2,000.
Wow, that's crazy. Oh my God.
Up and up and up. And I was looking on eBay like constantly. It was like 1,500 US, like it was 2,000 Canadian. But I kept looking. Did I describe it right? Like every time the bid hit like another, it went to 500. Oh no, I must have not said that the leg was missing. Did I say the leg was missing? And it ended up at 1,500 US, and it went to Japan.
Wow. So I was going to guess that part of the story was you restored it to like pristine condition, but you didn't even do that.
No, I don't bother doing that. I let someone else do that.
So the buyer was obviously planning to restore.
And Blythes are very, very desirable. Original Blythes are from Kenner's Toys from 1972, 1973, and they do sell for $3,000 or $4,000. I actually saw one, and Rick and I got mad at each other. We saw one at a Value Village 2 years ago, just before the lockdown. And they had it priced at $299, and it was 1 minute before the store was closing. And and I said to Rick, "It's $299," and he goes, that is high." And I went, "Yeah, that's high. Well, we got to get out now. Store's closed." Got home, went, "You know what? We should have picked that up. I know it's $300." And I went back the next morning. I got into the store 5 minutes after it had opened. It was sold.
Oh my God!
Wow.
And that would have been another $400 or $500 flip, but it was just the risk of putting $300 on something.
Mm-hmm.
But now I know if I do see a Blythe doll for like
any money
like that, there's room for.
Are still getting good money. The reissues are by a thing called Pullum, but not Kenner. But Joseph Blythe is the that's the shit.
That's funny. Yeah, I know our guest Stacy Ferracci.
Yeah,
Stacy knows a lot about those. We need to have her back on just because she knows.
Wasn't she saying she had like just found the last one that she was missing or something?
Yeah.
Like she has an amazing collection.
Hardcore collector.
Yeah.
This is crazy. So Marianne said that she donated Christmas and sold at crafts, and then she won a max sold auction, and one of the ornaments was hers. That's crazy.
That is wild.
Wow.
What a cool story.
Yes, that is. Yeah.
What's yours?
Okay. With a title called Hookers versus $835. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
That is crazy.
Very cool.
I love hookers too. What was your most memorable find?
Yeah. You want it?
Well, mine I'm actually going to pull this up because this was actually something that I got at
that was on a fairly recent episode, I think.
This was a recent episode. So this came from a Goodwill Blue Box, believe it or not. I actually just put it up for auction. I had it up for I had a lot of watchers on it, and it was I had it up for a couple $1,000s, but I decided to try auction for the lowest price that I wanted, and so I do have some watchers on it, no bids yet, but this is, so Michael Volbracht was the designer he's known for Bill Blass. And in the collector circles, fashion collector circles, this is very sought out. So and it was in like new old stock condition. You can see like from this, the tag from the 80s, it was originally $14.95, and it does have a few holes in it, but nothing major. I think they're just like pulls from storage. But this is definitely like one of the most epic things. And it came from a Goodwill Blue Box, so you never know. So,
and we unboxed that live, didn't we? That was a fun one.
Yes, we did. Yeah. So
I was just saying, I saw that on your Instagram post yesterday.
yeah. I just put it up for auction. I decided because it was getting a lot of interest, but no takers for buy it now. So I thought I'll try it. I'll try a 10-day auction and see what happens. It's got 6 days to go, and I'll see if hopefully I'll get some bids. But I'll let you guys know.
Heather says Bob is her most memorable find. She found him in a bar in Fort Lauderdale.
That's great. So your husband was thrifted. That's great.
That's a good one.
Yes. What about you, Lola?
Okay, so mine is also an amazing designer item, although I found it in a little bit more of an expected place because it was at a thrift store in New York City. But I've shown this before on our Pucci episode. We did a whole episode on Pucci. This is a Pucci cat suit with the booties on it. So some of these are footless, but this one has the booties. And I do believe it's from the 80s. I know, Ned, we've talked about this before because when I did research on it, it seems like the ones that had the feet are a little bit older, but based on the tag, it seems like it may have been like late 70s, 80s. So like the fabric content tag looks a little bit more modern.
Now, are you keeping that, Lola, or are you going to be selling it?
I'm going to list it at some point. I think what I want to do is put it on.
I know it's hard for you to list. I know.
It is hard for me to list just because it's so special. But like, I'm not going to wear it myself.
Well, that's disappointing.
I mean, I could. It's a little too small. I don't want to stretch it out. That's my big worry. But one of my goals is to eventually get on like a more high-end vintage platform. So I think this I'm sort of saving for when I have enough inventory to list a few things on, you know, a little bit more of a high-end platform, or maybe even just Etsy, but somewhere that's a little bit more conducive to high-end.
How many things do you have, Lola, that you bought that you should be selling that you are keeping because of the? No, I just asked because I'm in that exact boat. We probably have 100+ items that we've purchased over the years, and every time I look at them, I just go, I only paid $3 for this. It's worth $400. Well, my dad always said, well, it's only worth that much money if someone pays you for it. But I still look at it as that.
Right. No, and I'm in the same boat. I have another item that I meant that was like sort of on my list that I didn't pull out, but I have like an amazing pair of vintage Wranglers, a few other pairs of vintage jeans that are a little bit more high end. And like I've sold jeans like that before and gotten good money for them just on like Etsy and Depop, but eBay and Depop. But I feel like if I don't do it a little bit more strategically, I'm going to leave money on the table. And when it's something like this that's so special, it's like I only want to part with it if I'm really getting the right price for it. And even if I don't wear it, I still have an appreciation for it as like a collector.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe what I should think of is like, this is my collection. And eventually when it gets too big, I'll part with some pieces, but it's a hard mentality to have where things sort of fall into the abyss, right? There's somewhere in between things you're keeping and things you're listing.
How much stuff do you have, Nay, like that? The clothing that you bought that is not for you, that you won't fit in or wear, but you can't.
I can't even describe it because I'm also, the other thing is too, like I've dropped 42 pounds since April and I'm still going down. Thank you. So that is also another factor because I know I keep going and I'm saying, well, I'm gonna fit into it, and you know I'm determined to. So I have all these things that I'm like, I can't fit into them now, but I will. And I
think I caught those 42, or at least some of them.
Because along the way, I have found things from my profit pile that I'm like, oh, this fits now. I can wear it, you know. So
yeah, and I think the other problem is that I always have more like low-hanging fruit. Like I always have more stuff in my profit piles that I don't feel ambiguous about. That it's just like, okay, this is definitely going to get listed. And so as long as I have that stuff to list, it's easy to put off the stuff that I'm torn or like kind of, you know, having second thoughts about listing. So
yeah.
Brian, do you have a bunch of games that you've looked at and you won't sell just because you know you got it for $1 and you could make $400 on it?
Yes, you're on. I don't know if you realized you were on, Brian. It was like...
Oh,
you're muted.
You're muted.
Turn off your mute button.
Yeah, because it's on our end.
Yeah. Is he? Wait, is he muted on? No, he's muted on.
Now he is. Did you mute him?
Maybe. Hold on a second. Nope.
I can hear.
I barely hear.
I hear something.
It's like Horton hears a who.
Yeah.
Right? There's this little voice like,
I'm here. We are here. Nope, we can't hear. Brian, I don't know.
Do you want to leave and come back?
Maybe if you pop out and pop back in, we'll get your audio. We'll add you if you come right back. Okay. So our funniest thrifting moments or stories. Do you have? Does anybody have a funny? I guess Brian, if you could just pop out and then pop back in. I don't know why we can't hear you. I feel bad.
It's a little slow too, so I don't know if it's the connection or.
Yeah, we'll try.
Well, with me, I got to tell you, one of the things I love the most is, and some people in here may be part of it, is I have a Facebook group called the Thrift Hall of Fail. And it's all the things that you find that you just can't believe actually exist or anything like that. And I got to tell you, I got one of them today. It's in this bag. And I could not believe this is a baggie filled with, like, it's twin dolls. It's the Aerobic Sisters.
Ooh.
By PMS.
That is funny.
That made the Aerobic Sisters is PMS.
PMS?
PMS.
That's hilarious.
And I went, I have to buy these PMS Aerobic Sisters.
Okay, that's funny. That is funny.
I don't know why, but
Oh my goodness.
I just wasted $3.99.
I don't think that was wasted at all.
No.
Sorry, ladies, we can't exercise today.
I thought it was cute. I saw aerobics. Oh, isn't that cute? And then I looked closer. Oh my God, it's by PMS. How did it become? How did they make something?
That is so funny. That is
That's
so, I mean,
hilarious.
perfect.
I love
Okay,
it.
hopefully we can hear you, Brian, now.
Okay, can you hear me?
I still hear something very quiet in the background.
Yeah.
Let me change.
Darn.
It might be,
Oh.
let me try something else.
I think we still don't have audio. I don't know why. It's
Something else, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
mic settings. I don't know. Mic volume. I can't.
These are really well made. It has a big notice on the
All right.
back. Strands
I don't know
of
if
hair
that helps.
made from detached.
Ooh.
I just
Random
maxed your mic volume, Brian, so I don't know if that. No.
Oh, he's gone again.
Okay, well, Becky, do you have a funny thrifting
Nothing that really sticks out. Although, no, not really. I mean, I'm always funny, so I mean, it's never.
You bring the fun. So.
It's a good time when you hang out with me, so they're all fun.
I think my best funny moment was actually when I did one of your classes, like when I first met you. And do you remember that we were like looking through sweatshirts or something, and there was a sweatshirt with a pack of like half full pack of cigarettes in it?
Oh yeah. It was like a half smoked pack of Marlboro Reds with a lighter in it in the pack.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Right out of the jacket.
I found like lipstick in some of the higher end purses that I bought. Like there was a Michael Kors purse that I was sent from the Goodwill Blue Box, and there was like makeup. I'm like, oh, nice. Half used lipstick for free.
That's
Great.
funny.
Yeah, toss that.
We have this game that we find a lot called Nightmare, and it's a VHS game that you could play and you watch this. But one of the things you had to do was in crayon you wrote down your nightmare somehow as part of the game.
Oh,
And
that
the
sounds
number of
horrible.
times- I know, but the thing is, it's freaky because you buy some of these things and you open them up and they still have the old person, whoever the kid was. And so we've seen things that have been like really like snakes, spiders, Uncle Bob. What?
That's bad.
It's
Yeah.
like, oh my God.
Oh no.
Like and there's a number of other weird ones that we kept really just like, oh, this child needs therapy now. Help this child.
I did find a book. It was a little golden book, and it was about this ballerina. And in the back of the book, some little girl, the girl who owned it, wrote the word "hoe" on the back of the page.
Yeah, Jess, looks like Heather has your contents for the rolling paper.
Yeah. So
Nice.
so you guys could have paired them up, your thrifted,
Yeah, there
extra
you go.
thrifted finds there. And yeah, that's funny. I remember once do you remember the guy? I don't remember what he was pushing in the cart. It was like a refrigerator or something but it was like in the parking lot, like of the Dunkin' Donuts before we thrifted. And he was just walking through the parking lot with a refrigerator with something sticking out of it. And I can't remember what it was like freaky though. Do you remember
I
that?
have no memory of this. I saw your note on our planning doc, and I literally have no memory.
Died laughing, but I can't remember what it was something like there was something sticking out of it though. And we were like, whoa, is there a body in there or something? But he was just randomly pushing a refrigerator through the Dunkin' Donuts parking lot with something like, I don't know, it was
do
weird.
remember one time. Do you remember we were at the the Goodwill bins, and we were about to go in, and there was someone who had been there already like for several hours, and they obviously sold stuffed animals because their entire back of their trunk, which was like a big SUV, was open, and it was just literally stuffed with stuffed animals. But all you could see of each one was like a random limb or like the feet. It was so creepy. It looked like a serial killer or something had like slaughtered all of these stuffed animals.
That's funny. I remember when I was in New York City one time, I was actually with Jason, and I can be clumsy. You know, I break things a lot. And so I had a bunch of stuff, and they didn't have carts or anything. It was at a Goodwill in New York City. And so I had like a bunch of clothes in my hand and a mug. And I not only dropped the mug and shattered it, but I cut my hand on it really bad. So so here I am in the, in the line, and I'm bleeding all over the place, bleeding on the clothes, bleeding like on the floor. I'm dripping, and I'm like so embarrassed, and everybody's looking at me. So Jason takes off, he had like a bandana or, and he takes it and hands it to me, and I wrap my hand in it, and he helped me out and like took all the stuff and like the bloody stuff, and I purchased it because I was like, oh God. And then he actually helped and like mopped up the blood off the floor, but it was so embarrassing. I was just like, oh God, I just bled all over the Goodwill. But yes, they were very nice about it, but it was a little embarrassing.
Brian, can we hear you?
I don't know if we can hear Brian.
Oh,
Just
no.
kidding. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
You got volume?
Yes, we can hear you.
It works. It works.
You're a little out of sync, but it's mostly working.
Yeah, I'm working on a new computer for YouTube because this laptop is not friendly.
Mm.
Matter of fact, I had to change. I went from Firefox to Chrome just to get audio.
Oh,
well, we have audio.
At least you
You're a
can hear me.
little like slow motion, but it works. We can hear you. Did you want to jump in and answer any of these questions?
Sure, I can answer anyone. Let's see. Well, I think one of my funniest thrifting moments would actually be an item I found in the case that I actually posted about it on the thrifting board. I was at Goodwill, and they had something in the case I didn't think they should sell. So I told one of the managers, I don't think you should sell this. And as I grabbed it out of the case, I figured, let me scan it, and I scanned it. And I ended up buying it. And it took me a couple of years to get the courage to list it, and it sold for $100. But I had purchased for about $7 a new in the box mail enhancement tool. It was new in the box. And I'm sitting there like, why is it in the case? It's like that just.
Do
but
they know what it
sealed,
is?
so I figured. I knew. I read it. It says right on there, mail enhancement tool. Does this? And like, do you just put stickers and throw them out? Well, back then that's what they did. But when I scanned it and it said $100, I'm sitting there like, I think I will have to buy this. And I was like, they won't sell stuff like that.
That is funny.
Well, I showed them the
That's a good
price,
one.
and then she, so I didn't want to think it was for me. It was not for me. So, but it sold last July, I think.
Oh my gosh, that's
If I'm
funny.
not
Well,
mistaken.
hey, if it sells, then who cares?
$100. No.
Yeah, I would have bought
And no
it too.
returns. I got positive feedback, so
I
no
would
return. I was
that
happy.
one. Oh my gosh, that is funny.
This thing doesn't work.
It doesn't fit. Yeah, I know. I don't want it to fit. No.
Yeah, no returns for fit for that. Oh my gosh. So this one is kind of like just a Lola and I question, but so Lola and I often will we always joke that we share a brain. Like we're always like almost like reading each other's minds. And we definitely have the same thrifting brain. And when like going thrifting with Lola is a hoot because we will always pick the same items up, make the same comments about items like separately, but like show each other, oh yeah, I had that thought too. Or like we pick the
There's
same.
so many times when like one of us will pick up an item and show it to the other person, and the other person will be like, oh yeah, I passed over that already because like it has a stain on it or it's damaged or something.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
So what's your most epic shared Nalo brain moment at Lola?
Well, can I tell the elephant story? because I think that was one
Oh
of my
yeah, go
favorite
ahead.
times.
You can.
So we were both
that was
in,
mine
we were
too. I
in
think
different parts of the same
After the
store.
male enhancement, the elephant story is appropriate, I think.
It's
I thought you were going to say that it can't. It's not nearly as funny. I don't think I can really top the male enhancement story.
No,
but-
this is going to be a tough thing to follow. So yeah.
So we had been thrifting in different parts of the store, and we both had something in our hands, and we were finding each other to show each other what we had found. And Nay, I think you had like a necklace with an elephant pendant on it, and I had a shirt that had like an elephant print all over it.
Yeah. And we both like simultaneously, but unknowing to each other, presented our elephant items to show to each other at the same time. Yeah.
We've lost Becky. I don't
We
know.
lost Becky.
Oh no. Well,
I have
Freeze,
no
Becky,
idea.
freeze.
I don't want to know, Becky, what elephants mean to you, but see.
I don't know why it made me laugh so hard, but she's like, well, I can't top the male story.
Well, I'm just like, I mean, at some of your shows too, it's really fun because you see the two of you talking about stuff, and then one of you will be, I was just about to say, Rick and I do the same thing too, and it's like you have this, I'm about to say something, and Rick will have typed it, and but the only thing is, you guys at least work with each other. I have to look at him and go, shut up.
with him, yeah. That's
Because he answers things on the chat that I'm about to talk about, and he's like, you know, that's what I'm supposed. That's why I started putting him in the basement for our shows, because
Putting him in that sounds so horrible. Banishing him to the basement.
Because we can't be in the same room because of the speakers and everything like that. But we
I know.
the
It just
studio in
sounded
the basement too. So I put him in.
Hello.
Hi,
Can I
guys.
get a brush? How are you?
He relaxes under the
Hi.
in the basement.
Go back to your cave. Go take a picture of a dress.
Just for that, another month.
Oh, poor Rick.
Oh.
That's
Yeah, I love learning, like bolos from each other too. Like thrifting live with Lola is just, I miss it so much.
I know. It's always amazing though when there's like one of us knows something the other doesn't know, because it happens so rarely. But then I always know if there's a bolo that I don't, it's going to be good. So.
Well, here's a question for the two of you, since you're our fashion maven thrifters, and you actually sort of made me think about this when you showed the Pucci thingy, the Pucci, right?
Yes.
What do you do when you've got something like that you're just not sure of, that's really high end? Like, Nay, you remember I sent you that picture when I was in the one thrift store with the shirt that I found that was $8.99. That was the Armani or whatever.
Yeah, it was Armani. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my god, it's $8.99.
It was I think it was the Miami vest, right?
Yeah, and I'm stuck now going, I don't know. I've seen one listed on eBay for $1,750, but what do I do about that? What do you suggest on things like that? Like you said, you're hoping to find like a vintage, Lola, you said a vintage premium kind of thing, but have you ever looked into things like the Real or anything like that for stuff?
So I used to sell on the Real quite a bit, and so my answer would have been to that question, I send all of it to the Real. The payouts just started getting a lot lower. I haven't done it in probably maybe 2 years at this point. So they may have gone up again. I don't know what the current situation is. I'm a little out of the loop on that. But when it was good, it was great because you didn't have to store it. You didn't have to take pictures of it. You didn't have to worry about whether or not it was going to be authentic. That was on them to authenticate it. And I actually intentionally sent something to them that I thought was fake just to see what would happen. And then they send you like a really nice message, kind of like, we're sorry. Like they send it back to you. And they don't make you feel like it was intentional. Like
you were trying to
like you're trying to scam them. No, they were very, very polite about it. But
I think a lot of people look at that, especially with like purses and all that stuff. Even today, when I was in the thrift store, I saw them pulling out, and they pushed the thing out, and it had a Michael Kors bag on it for $59.99. And I'm like, the amount of times I see Louis Vuitton, Coach, and things like that at thrift stores, it's like, I do not know who all these rich ladies are who are throwing away, like, oh, I don't need this Birkin bag anymore. I'm going to throw it into...
They're out there.
I know there are a few out there because
I'm sure
diamond
some
rings
of it
get
too is
found, and Picassos get found and things like that. And maybe I have this Armani that's a $1,700 Armani, but it's still one of the with purses.
Yeah.
Every store has them, and they have so many designer things that you're always like, there's so many things to try and figure out. That's the hard thing, I think, when you get to upscale or upper luxury.
Yeah.
And even when some of the cases, even when you go to things like with Brian, with certain video games and things like that, it's like trying to figure out if it's real or if it's fake is like probably the hardest thing I know I have, where I probably have 10 things right now in the house that I'm like, I don't know what to do with these things because I've been told these are real Nikes. I've been told these are fake Nikes. And it's like, if they're fake, burn them. If they're real, $300.
Right.
This box at home.
I think it helps
Shoot
to
the
have
tag.
a friend in your pocket too, that you can, pull out your phone on. Like I have, like Brian, if I find a video game, I'm not going to know anything about it, but I'm going to message Brian and I'm going to say, hey, I'm in the thrift store. Should I buy this? Is this good? Is this, or, if I have, I have friends that know more, like my friend Stacy Faraci. I know a lot about I wouldn't say a lot, but some about authenticating handbags and so I can pretty much, say, okay, this isn't real off the bat. But if I'm wondering about something, if I find a Louis Vuitton, I'm going to message my friend Stacy and say, hey, because she knows way more about authenticating than I do. So I think that helps too.
Or pay for a third-party authentication service, maybe. Yes. So Sunny Day in the chat says that they were disappointed with the payout. So that's what I started finding as well. The payouts used to be pretty solid, especially given how much work they do for you. And then they started getting much lower. So I haven't sold through the Real in a while. I think if I had one of those rare items where I just didn't feel confident, and like Craig, you were saying earlier, like, what are the items that you can't part with? Like, I mean, I think a lot of those high-end items fall in that category because they do feel so special, and like finding them, that moment where I found them on the rack felt so special that it's harder just to part with them. But at some point I might part with a few of those things and send them to the Real, even though I know I'm going to get a lower payout. Just the lack of anxiety over whether or not my buyer is going to be unhappy through eBay or something like that. Because I don't think I'm at the point as a seller where I could eat that kind of cost if that transaction went poorly. So,
well, always remember though, what we always say is you don't lose the profit you never had in the first place. You lose the investment you had in the shipping. So that's the thing. That's right. That's the way to like, because I've thought my only challenge, because I'm in Canada, is if I ship something to the States, normally when the borders are open, I have a U.S. Return address that's just across the border in Niagara Falls. And we used to go there monthly. Now I can't. So I can't risk something that's a $700, like even putting that shirt on for $750 and going, if someone buys it, great. It crosses the border, no problem. And then they say it's fake. And then I would literally just go, here's your $750 back. But I don't want to do that. And they could be going, it's fake. And I don't know that it's fake. That's the problem with some of those higher end type of things.
Right.
So.
Yeah, like one of the worst transactions, like one of the few really poor transactions I had on eBay happened to be an overseas buyer, and they had requested I not do it through GSP, and so I did it. I sent it to them directly, and then they filed a claim and tried to scam me by like using a fake return tracking number, and it was just a whole mess. I was really close to being out both the shipping there and back from Spain. And the item itself, thankfully, it was from the bins. I had no money in it, but just that, it was like $60 or $75 in the end that I was going to be out. So I try to think of that as my like barometer for the worst case scenario. And it really is, unlikely and unusual that would happen. But, if I don't feel comfortable that I could lose that money on.
I'm thinking about taking my shirt to a high-end resale store in Toronto and saying, fine, if I have to lose $600, that they can make $1,500 on it, but if I can make $500 or $600 on it out of my pocket, I don't have to worry about it.
That's true, yeah.
And you have nothing to lose if it's like a consignment store and you can guarantee that you'll pick it up and have it back if it doesn't sell within a certain time frame.
Yeah.
Then that's true. Yeah, you have to make sure though, because some of them will, in the contract, they'll keep it if it doesn't sell, and so you don't want that. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody have some favorite tips that we've shared?
Oh, always fabric. And I love to learn about the jet black buttons from what was it, last week's show?
Yeah.
A couple people mentioned that. I wish I had been a little bit more prepared to talk about it. I didn't realize how interesting that would be to everyone.
Yeah, that was an education for me too. I didn't know.
Yeah, so now I really want to do a whole Victorian episode.
That would be fun. Yes.
Yes, you should.
Mine is bending shoes. I never thought when I would look at shoes until you made the comments and telling people twist the shoe.
The twist test, very important.
Not even ever a clue. I looked at shoes. I never really bought them, but when I looked at them, I never once thought about doing that. And since then, if I ever have seen something that's that one's caught my eye or something, that's one of the first things I do is you come into my head, sort of my shoe whisperer, going, bend them and twist them, bend them and twist them. And so I bend them and I twist them, and then it's those crumbled apart. Thank you, Nay.
Yep. I've had it happen in the thrift store where they've just crumbled, and that's something that I've seen so many cases where posts in different groups and whatnot where people the buyer's gotten it and they get it and it crumbles and they're like, oh, and these people, the sellers, just didn't know. And yeah, well,
Elle Woods has her bend and snap, and we have Nay's bend and twist.
That is funny. That is true.
I'm gonna sing that to myself in my head every time I bend and twist a shoe now.
So this tip was from. We had a lot of tips in this episode that were pretty good. That were some of my favorites, but the one that I think my favorite from this episode, I think it was number 9 in this episode, was that you should probably if you can do things basically do things your own way. What works for one person doesn't work for another. So it's okay to do things your own way. That was my favorite tip from that, because it does a lot of people will say a lot of selling groups and whatnot, they'll say, oh, you should do things X, Y, and Z way, but that doesn't work for everybody. And if your organization system is something that no one else can decipher but you can, and it works for you, then that's great. It works for you. So yeah, definitely beat your own drum, or whatever the saying is. I don't know.
We've always said, you do you. You know your business best. You know how to deal with things best as well. It's we block buyers. Other people say don't do it. It's well, it's okay if you don't want to block them. Fine, I want to block them. That's just the way I want. It's so it's just you do if it's more comfortable. And then we try and always say to people, don't tell someone that your way is the only way. Just as you're saying, because
exactly.
It's not true.
Yeah, I was gonna say the reverse of that is if someone's trying to tell you that this is right and you try it and it doesn't work for you, it's not a failure on your part. Mm-hmm. It just means that didn't work for the way you run your business, and that's fine. Go on and try the next tip that someone's offering you.
The returns thing, we always talk about it, and some people don't like thinking about that profit as being money that's lost. It's just, that's what we say, well, if that works, if that's the way you want to think, that's great. This is how we've thought about it. That's made it easier when we've had to do a return. If you want to do full returns and have items returned to you, that's great. If you think you can make money like Nay did on those jeans, or that one thing she had where she flipped it back for $200 because she got it returned, we say take the return if you can. But if it doesn't work for you, or you're stressing too much, or especially our biggest thing is if you're spending 2.5 hours trying to figure out something that you're working on a $9 item, then you're not paying yourself any time for all the time your head is now spent in this.
Right. Your mental health is so important, and all of that stress is detrimental to your mental health. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that you had a tip that we mentioned in a couple episodes. This was one of the episodes that we mentioned in it, Lola. So what was that tip?
I'm so tickled by my hair. I totally forgot that I had been parting my hair like that.
That's funny.
So one of my favorite tips is that I think it's a through line, a theme that comes up a lot in our different episodes, but just to think outside the box and to think about the different ways that you can find value in an item So like one thing I mentioned in our jeans episode was that if you look on Etsy, you'll see a lot of sellers who sell like specific parts of like deconstructed jeans. So you'll find a lot of like just the belt loops or just the leather patches or just the zipper. And people buy them. So, you know, it could be crafters, like mixed media artists, people like that who are looking for really interesting elements. And you just never know how you're going to find value in an item. Right. Yeah.
No, I did not know. Mind blown. I have some jeans I've got to tear apart and sell now.
I mean,
I think
you can sell the back pockets. Like you can sell the seams, cut out the seams on the side of the leg. Different parts like that, they all sell. And then I loved our ads show with Jess, who I think is still in the chat, hopefully. Because the whole theme of that was just how you can look at an item for, you know, in this case, old vintage magazines, and parting them out, selecting different pieces of them, and they're worth so much more pieced out like that than it is as a single item. So and there's lots of examples like that. Like another one that I mentioned when I was talking about my new sewing machine is like sewing machine parts. It depends on which, you know, make and model is, but if you just Google some specific sewing machine models, the individual parts are worth way more than, you know, the machine itself, because if they're vintage, if people are looking to repair their own machine, I'm sure lots of electronics. Brian, I bet you could speak to that better than I can. That you can
Brian.
Hi, Jess.
Well, a lot of electronics or video game systems or computers, parts, all that stuff, stereos, the knobs, same thing. People are always looking for parts. I have I have a stupid little fan here that one of the knobs came off, and just for my own sake, I might want the knob because I just like it, you know, have the knob on it. But there are people that are always looking for parts, and some of the parts are actually worth more than the item itself. So on a game system, you might be able to get $30 for a system, but someone might be willing to pay $50 or $60 for a part because to a completist, they want theirs to be complete. Or if it's a stereo, sometimes a component on the inside, one of the boards on the inside is the problem with old electronics like stereos is capacitors blow because we're no longer using lead solder, and so over time the capacitors blow. Someone might want that board in yours and to make theirs work, and so you might have something worth more than you think just by a part.
That's
so.
Angelique, that's a great example. Taking the parts out of the microwave.
Yeah, and some people would just drop it off at their local recycling center and call it a day. But you know,
but you could probably pay for your next microwave, or at least for a chunk of it, by doing that.
Yeah, even like the turntables, the glass.
Yeah, the tray on the inside.
Yeah,
yes.
Those are.
And then you're keeping all of that out of the landfill and stuff, so it's like a win-win.
Yeah. So, I guess we'll skip to this question. Top favorite past show episodes. I know Lola and I have some that are ours, and we'd like to ask you guys what were some of your episodes too. Lola, I know this was one that you loved.
Yeah, I mean, I think my picks are pretty predictable. I just had so much fun talking about yarn because obviously I love it as a seller and a thrifter, and then I love it as like a knitter. And I just am so tickled every time someone says, "Oh, I found yarn and I was able to sell it and made a profit on it." So, you know, I think this episode is one of my favorites to do, and I probably put way too much information in it, so it might be a good one to kind of go back and refer to as more of a resource than watching it once. But I love being able to share my passions like this on the show. It's one of my favorite things about doing it. So
yeah, that was a long episode, but it's jam-packed with such good information. So you want like a mini course in selling yarn, there it is. So
yeah.
And then this is one of your favorites.
My other one is sewing patterns. It's one of my favorite things to sell, and I really am thinking more and more about trying to focus on selling sewing patterns more exclusively because they're so easy to store, they're so easy to source, and they're an item I have fun with. So it's sort of just, it ticks all those boxes for me. And I think this was another good episode where it just has tons of information and is a great resource if you're thinking about starting to sell sewing patterns or happen to find some and don't know what to do with them.
Absolutely. I know.
Well, Lisa says patterns are her bread and butter. Yeah. And I love buying them also. You know, I do both buy and sell them, so I can also appreciate it from the other side. And I know, you know, when I list something that someone was looking for, it's just such a great feeling that I was able to help someone find that sought after pattern. So.
Yeah, I know my friend Stephanie Canada sells mostly just sewing patterns. And she has, if you check out her channel, I know her store is Backroom Finds. I think that's her channel too. She's got tons of information about sewing patterns. So there's some really great information out there. Yeah. So this is my, if it loads, blank screen. Well, let's say this one maybe load. No, that's not what I was looking for. Okay, sorry. I do have some actual episodes loaded here, though. So one of my favorites was Betsy Johnson. And that was because I went down the research rabbit hole with that. And it was like so much fun. I did not know that Betsy Johnson back in the 60s was friends with all these people, you know, like Andy Warhol, you know, Lou Reed, and you know, it was just so amazing. What was her name? Edie Sedgwick, who died tragically, you know, of a drug overdose at a young age. She was and she partied hard with these famous people in the 60s, and I didn't know all of that history, and she had such an eccentric life. Even to this day, she's still a fun, spunky, eccentric lady, you know. So I really enjoyed the research rabbit hole that going down that with that episode. And then another one was, you know, another deep dive episode was the Emilio Pucci episode, and the most notable thing about that episode was that not only the fun of researching the life of Pucci and his designs, and, you know, it's just so many holy grails and great finds, but we got a little bit of fame from that. We had a celebrity comment there. So I posted it on Instagram, and Emilio Pucci's daughter, Laudomia Pucci, actually commented on our Instagram post. So she put a couple comments. She said fun, and then she commented again, and she said would have loved to have been able to connect what came out of this. And I did reply to her both times, but it was like, wow, we have a celebrity comment, and it was Pucci's daughter. That it was just amazing. Like, so Lola and I were a little starstruck from that.
Yeah, that was really fun. It's really cool.
You guys have any favorite episodes that we've?
Oh, well, the Betsy Johnson was my favorite. And then Keith Haring, that was a really good one.
Yeah,
and,
that's a good one.
Yeah, and anytime you guys do fabrics and yarns, because I'm a bit crafty. I have my PhD in crafts. Projects half done.
I love one of my favorites was, and you've done a couple like this, was cottagecore. And it was when you're looking at something that I'd never even heard of before, so that when the two of you take on a trend that's relatively new, to talk to those of us who are relatively clueless and are able to, like, literally, it was like I started going after that. I started looking around and going, this could be cottagecore. This could be it's like, and I hadn't thought about that as keywords or anything like that for Etsy, for any of those things, until I saw that. And you've done a couple of those. Coconut Girl was another one where you got. So when you do those things that help those of us who are less into the trend, sort of be able to go, okay, that's an interesting thing. It expands for me a lot. I do love your designer ones very much. So like when you do those focuses too. But I think my favorite one right now has been cottagecore, because I keep finding more and more.
That's good feedback for us too, because we always love to have suggestions for future episodes, and we want to know what our viewers like. So that's great feedback, Craig. This was another one of my favorites, Lola, because it was the episode that we did in studio together before we
yeah, that was so fun.
So yeah, so that's a very early episode, like from 2 years ago, and we were at Lola's house in studio live together, and I think that was my favorite part of that episode. It was a little wonky, like a little clunky, because we were still getting the ropes of running the show, and so you can tell how old school it is and how far we've come. But it was just so much fun to be in studio with you, and hopefully we'll be able to do more of those in the future.
Sure.
Bring that up.
Oh, and Betsy, you're so sweet. That's definitely like what we aim for. You say that we don't have the haughty if you know attitude. That's definitely what we aim to not do. So it's great to hear that we're kind of nailing it, because that's we want to be genuine.
We're learning as we go too. We learned, I learned about the buttons from Lola on a couple episodes ago. I'm learning stuff all the time. I learned a ton when Brian was our guest talking about electronics. I learned a ton from Brian. I learned stuff from Craig and Rick when we have them on. I've and Becky is going to be our guest in a few weeks too. I have to actually talk to you about that, Becky, because we want to schedule it.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if I know anything, but I'll try to know things for the show.
You know a lot.
Becky, can you tell us about the rocking horse?
I found it at an estate sale, and it's so cute. It's just a little plushie. I was like, this is cottagecore. Definitely.
Yeah.
It's definitely 80s. So,
yeah, it's super 80s.
Yeah, when I spotted it, I definitely had to get it. I don't know. I don't think it's handmade, but it doesn't have, well, maybe it is, but it's super cute. So I need to get it listed before cottagecore becomes uncool.
I think you have some time, but that is the problem with trends, is that they do move fast.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great question. Tips for doing, making it easier to photo and measure fabric. That would be a great quick episode. We'll have to put that on the list.
Yeah, we'll have to note that, because we love our suggestions from our viewers. We're always looking for topic suggestions. So, and I guess I'll cut to this one. This is really for Lola and I too. But what's your favorite thing about doing the show, Lola?
I think especially like this past year and a half-ish now, since COVID started, it's been great to have like something that grounds me during the week. So I always have, something to look forward to on Friday, and having a project to work on throughout the week, and then having like a sense of time, because it's been so easy to kind of lose track of the days. They all run together, but having that one day a week where it's like, I know it's Friday, I know it's the day we get to do the show together, and then always having a reason to chat and to keep in touch and see each other face to face since I moved away has been like really special.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I echo some of those same exact sentiments. I think plus it's actually, it is a lot of work to prep and all, but it's a good like mental health thing for me too. It gets me, motivated to do other things too. Like while I'm prepping for the show, I'm like, I need to list, I need to do this. I think it gets me motivated. It kind of holds me accountable for my business too, because I have to show those market reports, and they, like we need to. So I think it helps motivate me in that way. I love all of our viewers. I love, like all of you guys that are here live, all of you guys that are in the chat, all of our friends and viewers mean so much. And it's kind of nice to be able to hang out with, it's like hanging out with friends, So I love that fact. And I love working with you, Lola. And learning too, like we learn a lot from each other. And I learn a lot like from researching, from, it's, so there's a lot I like about it.
Absolutely. Should we wrap up with our giveaway?
Yeah, I guess let's see, maybe we'll do our last one, and then we'll do the giveaway, because I think I do think that we can get some feedback from some of our viewers too, like what topics would you like what would you like to see us do a future episode on, like for not just for Lola and I, but for, all of you, you can answer this too. Like what would you like to see more of, or what would you like to see our goals be, and some future episodes. So we love our viewer feedback.
I would love to see you take some of the things that you've done as tips and Nay, you and I have talked a little bit about this, and Lola too. It's like turn them into some like 10-minute tip videos.
Yeah, that's definitely on our to-do list.
For example, the measuring thing. Yes. Like for you, I think it would be great if it was, and I wouldn't do a bunch of them. I would love to see like how to measure a dress. And that's it. That's all I need to know, because I don't wear them often. And so I'm not sure about bust size or things like that. So when it's like, how do you measure a flat dress? What are the key things? It's pit to pit, bust, what, like just something like that is quick enough that I can pop on to your channel and go, oh, here's your tip playlist. And it starts taking, because you talk about so many things and you learn so much, but at the same time, just like when Brian does his, you learn so much stuff that it's hard to remember all of it because there's so much stuff in some of your things. So I'd love to see that. And I'd also love to see 1 or 2 special times when you do something not in the middle of a day on a Friday.
Yes. Totally fair. Yeah, this has just been a good time for both of us to be live. So, but we do I miss
half of your live shows because I'm out thrifting or shipping or doing something. So I'd love it if you just popped on like once on a Sunday night or something like that.
Well, I know Aaron and Matt were talking about being guests, and they work full time during the day. So we will be having a night show sometime in the future. I have to get with Aaron and talk about when we're going to do that. So that will be an evening, probably a Wednesday evening show. I have to talk. So we'll be doing some other. And plus, we do some of those pre-recorded videos too. It's they can pop up whenever. So, but that is good feedback. So thank you. Brian, do you have any suggestions or? Is Brian there? Yes. I thought you were frozen.
Actually, I'm just going back and watching it's a lot of learning because I just started doing clothing this year. So I do like the idea that Craig mentioned about the short videos showing how to measure a dress, because I have a few for sale, but the only thing I've effectively measured so far are jeans. So, and apparently I'm getting those right because people are not returning them. So that's a good thing for me. But yeah, measuring things like that. But for me, I'm watching the old episodes and catching up to learn because there's so much information. I just sit back and defer that to other people.
Yeah, it's always fun to go back and watch the shows, but like Craig was saying, that's a really good idea to have like a Cliff Notes version of, like when I'm knitting or crocheting something and it's a technique that I haven't done in a long time and I just need a refresher, I will go and I'll look that thing up and it's like a 2 or 3 minute video, how to, pick up a loop and do it behind the stitch or whatever. So I think that's a really good idea. Like how to measure fabric or, how to crochet.
Yeah, for sure.
Or do something like with yarn, because I'm a yarn hoarder.
Yeah, me too. I've actually gotten better recently at listing some more of my yarn, but yeah, I definitely want to do some of those short videos, and it's great to hear that feedback from multiple people saying that would be useful.
Yeah, so that's and Chris, I like Chris's suggestion of vintage labels. Yeah, that's something that I know we're going to talk about. One of mine that I'm excited to do is, and we keep talking about it, but I need to document more before and after photos, is cleaning tips, like tips on cleaning items. Sunny says, I love the designer segments. So yeah, so great feedback from you guys.
And Kimberly suggests a show and organization. We need that show also. If anyone is really organized and wants to be a guest and talk about organization, please.
Yeah, I am like the polar opposite of Marie Kondo, so I am.
Yeah.
Just look behind them.
Yeah. Don't look behind the curtain.
I have a very neat area, but it's only like as wide as the screen, so you can't see stuff on either side.
It's not my strong point either. So
well, I think that goes. I think everybody has ADHD. Everybody has a touch of ADHD, and it's like my dad was like that. He was, don't touch anything on his pile of messy desk because he knows exactly where everything is. So even though it might look messy to other people, I know where everything is, so don't touch it.
That's true. I'm also like
Yes, I think I think all of us thrifters have a little bit of that in us. You know, I think it's kind of like a trait that goes with a love for thrifting too. So
Totally.
yeah. So, well, thank you, everyone. So we're going to do some giveaways. I think what I'm going to do is, Craig, can you hang around for the giveaways?
Sure.
And we'll say goodbye to Brian and Becky. Thank you so much for popping.
Thanks for popping on. This
we
is
want
so
you guys to have a chance to win too. So you guys, everybody that's in the chat will have a chance to win the giveaways. So just pop in to the chat and we'll give you instructions. Thank you for joining us, Brian and Becky.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So we will. All right. So Craig. Ooh, that was. Yeah. All right. So let me get this banner off of there. So we're gonna do a giveaway now. So Craig and Rick were so nice to offer us offer us some prizes. So Craig, I do have some pictures of the giveaways here. So first of all, I want to give Craig and Rick a little plug here. So
hair plug.
So this is their YouTube channel. So 2 Dogs Digs. And you're coming up on 2,000 subscribers. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah, we're only about 40 away from 2,000. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So yeah, everyone go subscribe. We can maybe help push you over the edge. That's exciting.
That is so exciting. So how long has that taken you guys?
It took us almost a little over 3 years to get to 1,000. And that was last September. So we've actually gained nearly 1,000 since last September. So that 1,000 mark helps a lot from your viewing standpoint to actually just you start showing up a little more for people when they're doing searches on YouTube and things like that. So
yeah, I've noticed that it started picking up our momentum too, because when we got up until 1,000, it was like we were getting like subscribers a week.
It was painful to get to 1,000.
But now, we've gotten 36 or so just since we hit 1,000, and that even though 36 doesn't seem like a huge number, but that is a huge number for us, just for a couple weeks, because we weren't getting that momentum before. So that's definitely.
Totally.
So you have a show coming up on Tuesday. So you do your shows on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Yep, and so you want to talk about this?
Our live 2 Dogs Digs Hall Pass. And we have a couple of different shows we're trying to do every month now. One of them is a What Sold, so at the beginning of the month. And Becky and her fabulous laugh is usually our guest on What Sold in September. And then middle of the month, we are doing, we call it the Thrift Store Showdown Throwdown. And I give people thrifters a theme that they have to shop to. So a couple we've done before. Becky's been part of it. A fun reseller from Ottawa named Carl, the lazy reseller, has been part of it. Our next one, actually, Becky, Carl, and we've got an additional guest coming on, and it is going to be Thrifting the 80s. And the idea is that they have to find 5 items from 80 sitcoms, and we have to guess what sitcom they belong to. So a perfect example would be if Becky showed up and she goes, well, I got this lovely men's tie and this child's tie family ties.
Oh, I get it.
It's not like, look, I got this MASH DVD. What's it for? It's for Matt. No, that's not. But so that's our theme for it's a little later on in our.
Oh, that's fun.
That's so clever. I love it.
Yeah.
But we also do Pop Shop Live, and we're going to be on Sunday night at 10 o'clock Eastern time. 7 o'clock Pacific on Pop Shop Live for our second show ever there.
Oh, fun. Yeah, Pop Shop is so much fun, Lola. Have you seen that?
I don't think so. I'm going to have to go watch it when we're done.
It's really weird. It's kind of a cross between QVC and Instagram. So it's basically I'm live for half an hour to an hour, and it's chatting just like Instagram Home Shopping Club. And selling. People can buy stuff. So our show on Sunday night is all about Disney. So vintage and vinyl Disney.
Very fun. That's so cool.
Yeah. So our first giveaway is going to be, and this lovely tea. So Craig, do you want to present the prize since you've generously donated
Well,
it?
I think we're going to do 2 of these. We're going to add one more. So we'll do one for the chat that's in now, but I also think we'll do one more of these t-shirts to people who respond to you in your comments after people have seen this live. So people who aren't watching live get a chance to win one of these too. And it's just some t-shirts that Rick and I designed that are, because we're thrifters, and they kind of are thrifty for us. So we've designed them to say, my husband gave me a hall pass, or my wife gave me a hall pass, so that anybody can use those. We have the I need a hall pass. We've got if you love something, set it free. We've done our little spin on that, or give it to me and I'll resell it. That seems to be the favorite of everybody. It's the blue one actually there. If you love something, set it free. That's our hall monitor. So that's for
I like this one.
That's for the spouse who says, no, you can't buy this. They get to wear the hall monitor one, and then there's a green version that says I need a hall pass. So any color, any size, and it ships to anywhere in Canada or the US. If anybody does want to buy one, they've got use the code 5ARF, ARF, and you'll get $5 off. But otherwise, somebody's going to win one of these, and all they'll have to do is connect with me, and I'll get their name and address and have it printed and shipped off to them.
Let me put that in the chat. 5ARF. Yes.
So yeah, and it's our Two Dogs Digs website, just twodogsdigs.com, and you can look up thrift tees. But yeah, so any shirt that you want there, and it's up to Lola and Nate to figure out the giveaway for now, and then figure out one for the chat later.
Okay, thank you for that. That's awesome. So that's a surprise for us too. Everybody in the chat will
So I think for that, I think what we might want to do is everyone comment a number on the comments who's watching later, and then we'll pull a number next show. So we'll leave a week to enter for that one.
That's a good idea. Yeah. So
or even take everybody's names down and put them in a spinny wheel.
Oh yeah, that works too.
That's true too. Yeah. So if you
so we're trying to figure out
comment about what you loved about this show, what you love about Lola and Nate and their show. And if
that's
you do,
in
the comments down below here on YouTube, you'll be in a draw to win a t-shirt yourself.
Yeah, so anybody that comments on our video will be, I like that. That's good. Okay, so the first giveaway, the way we're going to do this is, let me get the banner up. So our first question is, how many subscribers did we have on September 3rd, 2020? So remember, we have, I think I said 1034 today. So how many do you guys think that we had exactly a year ago? We have that number. And so if you guys can all type it in the chat, what number you think, the closest one will win a t-shirt. So let's give everybody some time to answer. And then
should we do closest without going over, just in case we have a couple people?
Yeah, I guess we'll do the closest without going over. Sure. Yeah, sure. Okay.
No, remember we have 1,000.
Joan, take another shot.
So we'll be less than 1,000.
Yeah, well, we have 1034 now, so or 1034, 1036. I said So we have 1036 as of today. So
Jess. Okay, should we wait?
Yeah, I guess we'll give everybody a couple
more seconds. If you have a guess you haven't put in the chat yet, and then we will reveal the answer.
Yeah,
I actually don't even know what it is. Nate looked it up, so
I have it. Yes, I do have it here. So
it's an interesting thing when you do YouTube, is watching the channel, watching the number of comments that you get and things like that. So it's always nice too to see comments underneath any of the shows that are done.
It's so fun to get comments.
They really respond to the comments, but anybody who does, it's just something that you can actually go, oh, okay, somebody thumbs up, things like those, and hopefully we'll get some thumbs up for here now, and some, if you haven't subscribed, but some extra thumbs up, and let's see how many you jumped.
Okay. I think I recognize most of the people who've been chatting have put in a number, so we can probably.
Okay, so if anybody else wants a shot now, or forever hold your peace.
Or if you don't get a chance, you can always comment on the video.
Brian will write the number in right after you speak it. he does that on our contest. That's why I know.
That's funny. All right. Well, I think we're going to close it, and I will give the answer. And I do see who's the winner. So this is at today, or that was actually last night. So as of right now, as of September 3rd, 2020, we had 684 subs. So we have gained 350 subs in the last year. So that would mean that Jess is 661. So good
That's
guess,
amazing.
Jess. Yeah, that was the magic number.
Wow,
So,
congratulations, Jess.
Yeah, so we will figure out how to get you that t-shirt through Craig and Rick, and you can pick out your size and your design. And so congratulations, Jess.
So we do have another giveaway though.
Yes, we do. So our next one, I think what we're going to do for the next one, so this is, so this one is, sorry, I'm trying to get that back to the comments. Let's see. This one is going to be a mini light box kit from, also generously donated from Craig and Rick. So do you want to talk about this a little bit, Craig? Because that's a pretty cool.
eBay Canada sent us a few of these, and they sent us a couple more than we expected. So I thought, why not offer one to Nay and Lola for them to have on their show? It's a great little thing. It's got lights right inside it. It's a USB hookup, and it comes in a little carrying case. So the thing that we love about it is it's one of those ones you can take with you if you're on thrift trips of any kind. So like, especially when you think of those people who do the road trips and they're driving, they're staying in all the little,
so you can list while you're,
it's like, well, you get into one of those things. Okay. It may not fit a board game. It may not fit some clothing, but it may fit a vase, some cups, some china, things like jewelry, things like that. And just pop that up on your night table and take some pictures while you're traveling. Put it in your car if you want, and try and do it that way. If you're not while you're driving, but like when you stop at places.
Okay, so for this one,
14 by 14 by 14 when it unpops.
Very cool. So that is an awesome thing that any of us can use. So you guys want a shot at winning that. What we're going to do is we're going to do a random number, and I have a random.org here. I have a number generator. So I'm going to take this off so that you guys don't see the number, and then I'll show it. So it's going to be a number, a random number, 1 to 100. So I think the first person that goes, gets closest to it but doesn't go over, we'll do that again.
Brian, okay. I thought you said you sold the male enhancement.
What did I miss? Will it fit the?
Well, it fit it, and it's like I thought he said he sold it. So
that's funny. All right, so yeah, so number between 1 and 100, closest that doesn't go over wins.
Yeah, it's always nice to have something like that. That's when we used to travel, when we used to be able to drive across the border, which we still can't for almost 19, 20 months now. We would be in the States every 3 to 4 weeks. We would be in the U.S. and we'd be there for like a 3-day weekend to make it worth our while. To go to garage sales and things like that and estate sales. And the number of times we bought stuff, and I thought we tried to set it up like on a dresser in that, like in the room to take a picture. And it always was like, well, we're back at the room for like 7 o'clock till 11 o'clock at night. It's like, I could be doing listing then. I could take some quick photos. And that's what's perfect with this. So
super smart.
Yeah, that's very cool. When you guys are able to come over the border, we have to get together with you guys.
Oh, yeah.
We
know we're meeting Lola at Brimfield, hopefully next May.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
To see her. So yeah, we'll
we do a whole Brimfield meetup.
You have to come up. So it's like she just has to travel a little bit. We have to travel along, or you can travel up. So we'll
we'll all travel.
May has to drive like 5 hours. I have to drive like 45 minutes.
I have to drive like 9.
Yeah, so you get the longest,
Totally worth it though.
But we love Brimfield.
So I think, so if anyone else wants to type a number now or forever hold your peace, I think we're gonna. All right. So I think, so it's the closest, but not over. So I have, let's see. We do have one that's.
Pull it up. So.
Yeah. So here's the number.
See it on the.
Sorry, I'm trying to find it here. Oh, there. Yeah, it's just number 62.
60.
Oh, I think someone was pretty close.
I know. Geez. She had.
Is Becky 57? Oh wait, no. Oh, the closest without going over. Sorry, Joan. Oh, you were so.
I know
close.
you were so close. But yeah,
so
I guess
is though. That's it. That is Becky, right? Am I missing anyone?
Yep, it's Becky.
Okay, so
Congrats, Becky.
Yes.
Well, thanks for having me on. I'll turn it over to the two of you to
Okay.
finish off
Yeah,
the
and
show.
you can participate in the last one, Craig. So
okay.
you can, yeah, go. You and Rick are eligible to win the last prize. So thank you so much, Craig.
Thank you.
All right.
So our last one.
So I know this is a regional thing. So it's going to be a Dunkin' gift card. We'll do a digital gift card.
Mm-hmm.
However, I know Dunkin' is regional and some of you guys don't have Dunkin' in your area. So if you don't, we didn't purchase it yet. We're going to do a digital card after, and we'll send you, I think we're going to do a $15 gift card. Because Lola and I always hit Dunkin' on our way thrifting. So it's like a memorable thing for our 1K episode. That's why we're doing Dunkin'. So there's no Dunkin' in Canada. So you guys have Starbucks.
Tim Hortons or Starbucks, whatever is the easiest, most convenient coffee place nearby.
So if somebody wins that doesn't have a Dunkin', we will we just pick Dunkin' because it's like near and dear to our hearts for sentimental reasons. But what we'll do is whatever's in your region that's the nearest equivalent to Dunkin' that's convenient for you, whoever wins will. So we're gonna do another random number. This time, let's see, I have to take this off the screen so that you guys don't see the number. So we'll do another 1 to 100 random number. So I'm going to generate that number right now. And again, closest to the number without going over. So, all right. So everybody type in the chat. And Craig and Rick, you guys are definitely eligible too for this one.
Fun seeing everyone guess. Heather, we did check before the show what parts of the country don't have Dunkin', and there were 6 or 7 states that don't have Dunkin'?
Oregon, Washington, Hawaii, Alaska. Forget the others. There's enough. I think Montana's one. There's quite a list of people that actually don't have Dunkin'. So.
So if that's you, we don't want you to feel left out. So just let us know what the major coffee shop is near you. I'll give it another second.
Mm-hmm.
I am not actually a huge fan of Dunkin'. I'm from Massachusetts, so I'm supposed to. And actually, my parents live really close to the original location. So whenever we have guests coming to visit from out of state or something, we always take them to the original Dunkin' Donuts location. But it's synonymous with thrifting for me because we would always go and just get a huge iced coffee.
Yeah. So. All right. So.
Give it another second.
Yeah, another second. I see the one person that looks like they're the winner, but if anybody else wants to enter.
Okay. I think that's
okay.
Most of the chat.
All right. So I'll pull up the number. So it is 94.
Ooh.
So it was, So I think it looks like Sunny is the winner.
Yeah. Congratulations, Sunny.
Yeah. So let us know what you have in your area. Mm-hmm. If you don't have Dunkin', we'll figure it out. If you can send us an email at naylothrift@gmail.com to let us know, or if you can message one of us too, on Facebook Messenger. But I guess the easiest thing would be to naylothrift@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh, good. You do have Dunkin'. Perfect.
Oh, good. Okay, perfect.
I hope we can fuel one of your thrifting trips.
Yeah, so we will get a $15 digital gift card over to you. So congratulations. I hope it's fuel for your thrifting adventures. Yes.
You'll have to tell us what you get thrifting when you're enjoying your Dunkin'.
Yeah, for sure. I guess we'll wrap this up. We do have we're going to skip some of our regular segments because we knew we were going to go way over today.
And we did. We're almost at 2 hours. So thank you to everyone who's been in the chat the whole time.
Hanging out. So our thrifting, we do have a couple stories that I thought we should probably mention just because it affects some of us. So first of all, so they both are kind of related. So New Jersey here was hit really heavily by the remnants of Ida, which it kind of took us off guard. There were tornadoes. We were in our basement for a tornado watch. We did get some basement water, which, we're cleaning up, but I'm not even complaining about it because compared to some people, they lost their entire homes in the area. I mean, the flooding is just, last night there was an explosion in Manville, New Jersey, and my house shook at 1:07 a.m. rather. And because there's so much flooding there, the whole town's under 8 feet of water. And there's with the gas leaks, there's been like 3 house explosions, and now a restaurant exploded last night. And that's 10 miles away. And it was so bad that we thought there was an earthquake or something. It was blowing up my local Facebook group. And they were wondering, and it turned out that it was that explosion 10 miles away that rocked my house. Like my house literally shook. I was like, what? I thought something like had come, it sounded like something had come through the ceiling upstairs or something. It was crazy, but everybody in my town heard it. So anyway, so that's what's been going on here in New Jersey. So because of that, the USPS facility in Kearney, which is a major hub, has been condemned. So I have 2 packages right now that are in limbo. I did message my buyers and let them know, and they're both just they were scanned right before the storm hit there at that facility, and they're for 2 days now they haven't gotten any other scans. So I think I might be out of luck with them, but I'm not sure yet. So this is about that. So if you have any packages coming in or out of New Jersey, just know that is a major hub here, and the whole facility has been condemned now because of the damage from the storm. So just make sure that you're not impacted from that. Just check your tracking and stay on top of it. However, eBay is extending seller protection. They did post last week. They are protecting anyone in the southern area of the United States that was impacted by Ida, Louisiana and all. Our heart goes out to everyone that was affected. But they have extended also the region to the Northeast here as well. So eBay will have our backs as far as removing any late delivery dings that we get, any negative or neutral feedback, that kind of thing. So that is that's a good thing. But again, lives are more important than our items. So we're just we hope everyone's okay and stayed safe. And we're not doing that segment. We do have a question for you guys this week. So we do want to know what your favorite episode or favorite tip from our shows was. Some of you have already expressed that, but or if you have any suggestions for future shows, again, as we mentioned, we do want to know that.
And then we will, I guess, everyone who comments will pick a name next week on our show.
Yeah, we'll do that next week. So yes, if you comment on our video in the chat, you are eligible. So, and where can you find us? Again, for those of you that won, if you want to reach out to us, just message us on Facebook or email us nailothrifts@gmail.com so we know where to send your items to. Let us know. And we're mostly Run Lola Run. I'm Thrifty Nay or Colbright Asterisk Dazzle or Low 2-Spy on eBay. So yeah, and don't forget, guys, too, to send us your duds. We want those links. Yes, email us your dud links so that we have content for next week. So right now, no one has submitted their duds.
I know a few people in the chat said they would, so thank you so much in advance. And if we don't get enough, we will probably be messaging some of our loyal viewers and ask you for some. So look out for that.
We'll be soliciting duds if, if no one responds.
But we'll get them somehow. So we will do our episode next week regardless.
Yeah. And thank you again to all of you. We love our viewers. We love all of you guys. We love, all of our friends. Thank you again to Craig and Rick for the generous donations of those prizes. And thank you to all of you. I hope you guys have a great week. And thanks so much for tuning in, for subscribing, for helping us to get to this this mark of 1K subscribers.
Definitely. We'll see you again next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.